None of us are racist. I'm an EDL member. I'm a Tommy Robinson boy. I'm sick of the corrupt government telling us lies, blacking out. They're doing blackouts on news media. Look what's happening in Paris, France, Germany, Sweden.
All things that were reported.
Thousands of UK citizens recently gathered in a huge rally chanting, "We want our country back." This event took place at Victoria Station in London and then moved to Parliament Square. People were there to protest against what they see as the threat of Muslim extremism. The rally was led by two well-known figures, Lawrence Fox, an English actor and broadcaster, and Tommy Robinson, a prominent far-right activist in the UK.
Protest in a holiday coastal town out of season this weekend. Far-right nationalists descended on the Lincolnshire town of Skegness to exploit local unease about hotels housing asylum seekers. A Home Office policy that has caused friction with locals who feel that their concerns are being ignored. At Saturday's march, some locals were among the 200 to 300 people who marched through Skegness to stage a rally in a local park, under the watchful eye of the police. But it was clear that some in the crowd didn't appreciate our presence.
Oh, let me talk streets where you know.
Don't take us for fools! We know they are not refugees, they are illegal immigrants.
The march was attended by far-right groups from outside Skegness. One of those was Patriotic Alternative, a small group led by a former leading activist in the British National Party. And the group made leading speeches at the event. At this time of year, not a lot should be going on in the coastal resort of Skegness. Facing the North Sea, this seaside town is famously bracing, even more so in late February. But Skegness is one of a number of towns and cities, including holiday resorts, that the Home Office is using to house asylum seekers. There are around 220 asylum seekers housed in the town of 22,000. Some locals and businesses are concerned about the effect that the use of this seafront accommodation could have on the local economy and the town's image.
Both the threes, 33.
It's eyes down at the local social club where the punters are chasing a full house.
The rally was a response to recent incidents and ongoing fears and frustrations that have been growing within communities across the country. The demonstrators carried banners and chanted slogans expressing their desire for stronger government actions and community efforts to curb the influence of extremist ideologies. The crowds chanted, "We want our country back," which was not just a reaction to recent events, but also a broader statement about the perceived effectiveness of current strategies. In recent years, the UK has been dealing with concerns about Muslim radicalism. This issue has become a major topic of conversation across communities. People have different perspectives and responses to what they see as threats. The public discourse has evolved to focus on how to address these complex and sensitive issues while balancing security concerns with principles of tolerance and inclusivity.
But the housing of asylum seekers is something everyone is aware of.
We think that we're being put on with the amount of the asylum seekers what we've got. We're not saying we don't want any, but there is a lot. They should be shared out a bit better. And that sounds terrible, doesn't it? I don't mean it to.
The issue has been building locally for months. In November, a usually poorly attended council meeting became very rowdy.
I'm the Mayor's chaplain, so I turned up to bless the council. And there's usually 15, 20 people in there in the public spaces. Well, there were considerably more than that. And it very quickly degenerated into people just shouting and bawling and being quite unpleasant. So the meeting was abandoned and the mayor and the town clerk and the councillors left. But the majority of people at that meeting, I would say, were not local. I know a lot of the local people, and there were accents and people there I'd never seen before.
At the local Anglican church, St Matthew's, churchgoers are celebrating the beginning of Lent, but it seems everyone in the town is aware of the asylum controversy.
The peace of the Lord
be always with you.
The rector of Skegness, Richard Holden, has seen the tensions develop over the last few months firsthand.
I think if it's going to affect local businesses, I think that's a legitimate concern. So our economy is based on holidaymakers. So if that's damaged, that damages the town. So I think that's a legitimate concern.
And what's not legitimate?
I think it's not legitimate to say that they're coming and they're standing outside the school gates, that they are going into the local nightclub.
The historical context is important to understand why these concerns exist. Muslim immigrants from former British colonies such as Pakistan, India and Bangladesh have brought diverse Islamic traditions and schools of thought to the UK. These communities often settled in urban areas where they faced challenges like integration, discrimination and socio-economic marginalisation. During the period when these immigrants were settling in the UK, political Islamist groups began to rise. Some of these groups were influenced by the ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood and similar movements. However, these groups largely focused on political activism rather than violent extremism. More recently, with the influx of immigrants, British society has seen the emergence of more radical ideologies, making the UK a focal point for radical preachers.
Concerns have the same ambitions or the same agenda as people like Patriotic Alternative and the far right.
For some people in towns all over the country, there are concerns about the impact on local services and business of placing asylum seekers in hotels. But as Saturday's march in Skegness showed, genuine concerns can be seized on by those who seek to stir up hate, sometimes with fractious results.
To combat radicalisation, the UK introduced the Prevent strategy. This aims to stop people from becoming radicalised. However, it has been controversial and has faced criticism from some communities for allegedly targeting Muslims unfairly. Despite these criticisms, Muslim communities and organisations have actively worked to counter extremism through education, community engagement and cooperation with law enforcement. Fear and frustration over extremist threats have sometimes fueled anti-Muslim sentiment and Islamophobia, leading to social tensions. Events such as the rise of the English Defence League, EDL, and other far-right groups have highlighted these issues. The EDL, for instance, was formed in response to what its members see as the growing influence of Islam in the UK and has been involved in numerous protests and rallies. The recent rally in June drew thousands of UK citizens who were concerned about the threat of Muslim extremism. They gathered at Victoria Station in London and then marched to Parliament Square. Lawrence Fox and Tommy Robinson led the rally, which reflected long-standing fears and frustrations within various communities.
This small village in England is divided as dozens of asylum seekers have been moved into a local hotel.
It's turning us into racist people, which I don't want to be racist, but it's making me dislike these people.
These poor people that have gone through hell need somewhere to go to.
Some villagers have been holding protests. One turned violent, and a local man was charged after a police officer was injured.
Save Kedworth!
What do you think the village needs saving from?
Just 250 strangers that we don't know anything about.
Kedworth is a sleepy village. Most people know each other. It's a very small community.
Kedworth is great, so it's a really nice community spirit.
From sleepy to strife, a community in conflict.
Get out! Cheeky!
This village on the edge of Leicestershire, population 3,500, has found itself bitterly divided over the arrival of around 100 new residents.
They've been dropped in a village where there's literally nothing to do. Things have changed completely and it has caused a divide in the village.
The guys have come from war-torn countries. They want to feel safe and welcomed and contribute to the community.
This is what caused the clashes. There aren't many facilities in Kedworth, but the Yew Lodge was one of them. It's a family-run hotel with a gym, a pool and a popular restaurant. But last month, without much notice, all bookings were suddenly cancelled and all the signs to the hotel were covered over because the owner had signed an exclusive contract with the Home Office to use the hotel for asylum seekers.
Big problem!
And its local communities feeling the fallout. This is Operation U Lodge, a campaign group that's been holding regular demos.
People are just scared to walk the streets now.
What are you scared of?
Well, we don't know because we don't know anything about these people.
They're marching to the home of the man who owns the hotel. He's a local businessman. He's well known locally because he's owned that hotel for 25 years and is friends with some of the residents. The owner, Jeremy Pick, hasn't responded to our request for an interview. The villagers say he's refused to answer their concerns. But as they shout their slogans, some passers-by start arguing with them because they say they don't support their protest.
It's this populist politics that we've got now, that's what worries me. Everyone's polarised. Nobody talks to each other anymore. And it's Donald Trump politics, isn't it?
The demonstrators carried banners and chanted slogans like, "We want our country back." They expressed their desire for stronger governmental actions and community initiatives to curb the influence of extremist ideologies. Many participants voiced their concerns about the safety of their communities and the need for a more robust approach to prevent radicalisation, particularly among young people. Organisers emphasised that the rally was not an indictment of the Muslim community as a whole, but a call to address the specific issue of extremism that poses a threat to national security. This distinction was crucial in understanding the rally's motivations and the message the participants aimed to convey. The event drew a diverse crowd, including victims of past attacks, community leaders, and ordinary citizens who shared a common goal of ensuring a safe and secure environment for all. There were personal testimonies from people like Tommy Robinson who shared their experiences and frustrations. Robinson criticised the police for their handling of cases related to extremism and exploitation when they refused to take DNA evidence from his son and said they only had a missing person report, which he later found to be false.
Protect our kids! Terrorism not racist!
Why they're chanting "Save our children"? I don't know why they're chanting that. Save them from what?
In Kegworth, one of those waiting for his claim to be heard is Hassan, who told me he escaped the war in Syria. He asks us not to show his face because his family are still living under the regime.
And every day, bombs, every day, we were seeing our friend dead, our relative dead.
Some people think that you get lots of money, you get benefits.
I don't think Syrian come here to get money. We left the war. We don't think in this way.
He gets emotional as he tells me he didn't want to fight for the government or for the opposition groups.
We escaped from our country because I don't want to kill anyone, so I left my country.
But every week outside his temporary new home, there have been rowdy rallies.
Yeah. They say, save our village. I don't know. Save our village from what? From the human? I just want to tell you that I am human.
The protests have caused deep divisions. On social media, rumours are rife.
I had my phone stolen, but it was before they actually came to the village. But it was all over the social media that it was them, and it wasn't them. It's just like everything with Facebook, it snowballs.
What shoe size do you wear?
40.
40? Oh, what's that in English?
On the other side of the divide, Operation Open Arms Kegworth, residents who have set up a group to welcome their new neighbours.
I'm learning about their culture, I'm learning different languages, I see their families sometimes virtually or photos, and they've met my baby, and yeah, it's changed my life a lot. It makes you realise how lucky you are.
There are some people who are very hostile to the guys being here. How do you deal with that? You know, you've been labelled lefties and do-gooders.
I think people are entitled to have different views, and some people can think that they shouldn't be in our village, but still that they're people who need help, whether they should be in our village or whether they think the government should have housed them somewhere else isn't really relevant.
more than 50,000 asylum seekers are stuck in hotels. The Home Office says the system is under incredible strain and that they'll work with local authorities to ensure the arrangements are safe for local people and for the hotel residents. But they admit there's no deadline to end their use. And so, villagers in Kegworth and their new arrivals have no idea how long they'll be staying.
Nationalists assembled at Parliament Square to view Tommy Robinson's documentary Lawfare, which critiques what he views as an uneven policing system. The screening became a focal point for discussions on law enforcement methods and societal fairness. The atmosphere was charged with energy as loud, hard rock music played, resonating with the crowd through powerful lyrics such as "I want my country back," preserving the culture where harmony once thrived before the influx of migrants. Among a sea of Union Jack flags, popular YouTuber Kay Benjamin took the stage, addressing the controversy surrounding his recent interview with Liz Truss. In an impassioned address, Benjamin stated, "Our crime was interviewing the former Prime Minister. That's why I'm facing trouble today. We are guilty of interviewing a former Prime Minister. That was my crime, and that's why I'm in trouble. But I stand today as just a husband, a father, an Englishman, and I can see that we're still alive. Because by God, you wouldn't know if you were looking at the TV, would you? Where is your representation? Where are your concerns being made present? And I tell you, man, this country has real problems. Like, I just want to tell you something about me." His words resonated throughout the audience, sparking a renewed determination and sense of purpose among those present.
The people of Britain have been unbelievably generous towards illegal immigrants. We pay millions in tax for them every single day. We've given up local hotels, local housing, our public safety in some cases. We've bent over backwards for them. The people of Wethersfield know this only too well. Their town has been turned into essentially a detention centre. They took the government to court over this. They did lose. Anyway, GB News can exclusively reveal that today some of those illegal migrants decided to conduct a protest outside, blocking roads and causing chaos. The police were called and they tried to deal with it.
Maybe she's
Yeah, it's concerning stuff, isn't it? Well, hopefully very shortly I'm going to be talking to a Wethersfield resident by the name of Dave Price, who is with us. Actually, Dave, look, thank you very much for joining us here on Patrick Christie's Tonight. Can you shed a bit more light for us, please, on what was going on there?
Yeah, apparently it was about 70 of them came out, and the major complaint they've got is the fact that nothing seems to be happening in terms of the processing. Some of them have been there since the camp was opened, and that seemed to be the main gripe. They had hoped there was somebody from the Home Office was there, and they were just wanting them to come out and just say a few words. But the Home Office person decided to stay in, so the road stayed blocked. And then even more police were called. And I think there's about 20 police were up there, and that's when they decided to go back into the base.
On social media, people from various countries expressed their support for the British, asserting that they deserve to reclaim their country and oppose the Islamic transformation of society. They argued that it's not just the UK, but all European nations that need to protect their homelands from what they describe as mass invasion. Some even suggested that if pro-Palestinian activists feel so strongly about Palestine, they should consider moving there to live. Regarding the event, the Metropolitan Police released a statement detailing their observations. They identified individuals in the crowd who have a history of involvement in violent incidents. Some of these individuals have football banning orders and a link to factions spanning London and the UK. Additionally, there's a segment of the crowd previously associated with anti-lockdown protests and related disturbances. This information highlights the intricacy and potential hazards associated with such assemblies. Currently, no offences have been reported, though it's noteworthy that several attendees appeared to be under the influence. Nick Lowles, CEO of Hope Not Hate, voiced concerns about the protest, indicating today's rally is expected to draw the largest crowd of far-right activists, football hooligans and supporters of Tommy Robinson in years. He stressed the increased potential for violence, referencing disturbing communications from hooligan networks where threats against people of colour, pro-Palestine protesters and law enforcement have been reported. These statements highlight the unstable conditions and the importance of vigilant oversight by authorities. Over 2,000 police officers were deployed to oversee the demonstrations, with extensive measures in place to ensure public safety.
Total farce, this is.
Yeah, look, what's it like now living alongside this facility in your area? I know that we've spoken previously as there were plans to do this and then when there were appeals against it, but we are where we are now, and currently where we are is people sitting outside of that base causing a massive scene, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose I will give credit where credit is due. They've not been coming down the village. There's been no problem at all. But that doesn't take away from the fact, the government have spent about £40 million plus on this facility. At £5 million, when they first came up with the idea, it was close to break even. So they've wasted £40 million plus on this, and there's no progress made at all in terms of processing them. So it's just it's what a total waste of money. And also, as well, I'll be quite honest with you, up there, it is so isolated. I wouldn't put my dog up there, if you know what I mean.
So I suppose the concern for you really is that this could get even more volatile, I suppose, going forward. They are obviously very angry and very frustrated. We've got a general election on at the moment, and then we'll see what happens after that. Let's be honest, it doesn't look like their claims are going to be processed anytime soon. I suppose that might be a concern for the local residents.
Well, I guess so. I think some of the residents are concerned that if the Rwanda flights ever take off, and they get to know that, are they going to start thinking about stirring things up? Who knows? But I think the main thing is it's the wrong place to put them, and it's cost taxpayers, like I say, at least £49 million. We can't get hold of how much health is spending on it. We can't get hold on how much the police are spending on it.
Commander Lutero highlighted ongoing discussions with protest organisers ahead of the events. Our priority, stated Commander Lutero, is to enable peaceful protests, ensuring safety for participants in both the march and counter-protest. This commitment emphasises the importance of maintaining order while protecting the well-being of all involved. A Metropolitan Police spokesperson reiterated, all Londoners have a right to feel and be safe in their city, and we will take a zero-tolerance approach to any racially or religiously motivated hate crime we become aware of. This rally serves as a reminder that numerous individuals in Britain are deeply committed to protecting their nation from potential risks, such as concerns over Islamist influence. Engaging in transparent discussions and cooperative initiatives is essential to addressing these apprehensions while upholding democratic principles and respecting the rights of every individual. As this dialogue continues to unfold, the rallying cry against Muslim extremism reflects the UK's commitment to security and social cohesion. Balancing vigilance with respect for diversity remains a paramount challenge. Moving forward, it will be crucial for policymakers, community leaders and citizens alike to navigate these waters with sensitivity and clarity, ensuring a safe and inclusive society for all. This endeavour requires ongoing dialogue, community engagement and the development of policies that address the root causes of extremism without alienating any segment of the population. It is equally important to promote education and awareness, fostering a deeper understanding of the UK's diverse Muslim communities. The rally in London, with thousands of UK citizens chanting "We want our country back," was a significant event that highlighted the concerns and frustrations of many people. While it aimed to address the specific issue of Muslim extremism, it also brought to light the broader challenges of balancing security and inclusivity in a diverse society. The event underscored the need for ongoing dialogue, education, and community engagement to create a safe and inclusive environment for everyone. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel.